So the technological environment, it consists of all those forces and factors which are related to scientific improvement and innovations, okay, and new methods of production, because these just change the game of the organization, right? Earlier, with the traditional method of production, their cost was coming more, but when they changed the method of production, when they installed the sophisticated machinery, which is the gift of the technology and research and development, right? So by that they have reduced their cost, okay, and they have reduced their wastage, okay. So these all points related to technology are very much important for a business organization, and all the forces which are relating to the scientific improvement and new innovations which somewhere change the method of production or way of doing business for the organization, all these factors form the environment which is known as technological environment, right? Okay, so we see that few years back what was the situation and what is the situation now. Earlier in your home black and white TV was there, and now color TV is there. So many replacement have come, okay, during the period of 50 years or 70 years or 100 years. If we see that what was the situation at that time and what is the situation this time. So in business also various changes have come. I just give you a very nominal example that you can also notice in your nearby area. Earlier you used to see that for weighing anything, the provision store, the shop in nearby home, okay, the shopkeeper used to use a kind of balance, right? Okay, now they have electronic machine for weighing the weight of the material, right? Earlier they have a kind of old traditional balance and there were a lot of flaws in that, so that failed, and now electronic machinery is established. Now you can see in every shop, almost all the shops are having that machinery because it is easy to weigh in that. Fine. So that is because of what? Technology, technological improvement, scientific improvement, new innovation, okay, due to research and development. That is just because of that. Okay, so I'm just going to write down the factors related to technological environment, then we'll have discussion on that, right? So these are the factors of technological environment. The research and development activities, you know very well that all the big companies have one kind of department particularly known as research and development department. They keep on developing, keep on doing the research, and then they just launch a new product in their market. For the example, you can use mobile phones. All the mobile companies have that R&D department in their organization, and that is the result that with their every model they just introduce new features. Fine. Okay, so that is factor related to technological environment. New equipments. Okay, earlier you could see that the phones did not have these many high pixel cameras. Now you get the dual cameras, 3 cameras, even 4 cameras available in the phone. That is just because of the technology and innovation. Okay, new equipments are becoming. Earlier the equipments which were not there in the existence at all, okay, but now these are available just because of the innovation. Okay, innovations in products and processes. There are new methods developed to do the production, okay, and imports and exports of technology. Even the technology is exported or imported as well. Okay, we can take the example of bullet train here. For bullet train we do not have a kind of technology, so it has to be imported from Japan. Okay, so that is the factor of technological environment. Business is affected by that. Okay, technological advances in computers and electronics. Now we see that in telecommunication devices lot of improvement have done just because of that. The business has been very much advantaged. Okay, so that is the part of technological environment. Okay, so many electronic gadgets have been developed just because of the technologies. Fine. Technologies keep on developing. Okay, now it does not make much difference that technology is being produced in one country. Okay, maybe possible it is produced in some country and the organization which is there in our country has bought that technology and now it has started production according to that. So that is working in the favor of raising the standard of life of the people, and businesses earning because people are buying that. Fine. So technological environment is also there, which very much affects the performance of a business organization. Okay, if any business organization which has been doing its production with the traditional method, if it starts applying the new method of the production, then what happens? They start getting the advantage, they start seeing the rise in their turnover, okay, and they start reducing their cost. A lot of advantages they start taking. Okay, that is what the impact of technological environment. That is why it is very much important. So these points are necessary for you to solve the case studies. Now let's move on to another dimension. Another environment is political environment. Political environment means it includes all the political conditions such as stability of government and attitudes of the elected government towards the businesses. Okay, so that includes the political environment. What kind of decision the particular government can take. Okay, what is their perception, what is their way of thinking, that matters a lot for a business organization, right? Okay, so very first I just write down all the factors related to political environment, and then we'll have discussion over it, right? So these all are the factors of political environment. Let's understand them one by one. Constitution of the country, right? So if anything is happening just because of the provision applicable in the constitution of the country, then that is the part of political environment. Okay, because today business has crossed all the boundaries of the nation. Okay, one company has to work in various countries, so in whichever country they are working, they'll have to abide by the provisions given in the constitution of that country, right? Okay, because constitution permits something only that that rule is applicable. Okay, otherwise that is not applicable. Fine, so that matters a lot. Now, prevailing political system, I just explain you with example that like India, we have federal government system, we have central government, we have state government, we have local authorities as well. Okay, but in other countries that system is not there, they have centralized system. So this matters a lot because on state to state rules regulations differ. Okay, and the same business organization is selling some kind of products in one state, and it is not allowed to sell those products in one state, then it is selling the another state because another state is allowing it to do so. Okay, so that political system is also affecting what? The business organization and their businesses, right? Okay, now this political ideology and practices of the ruling party. Okay, see, as many parties are there in various countries, political parties we are talking about. We can talk of India, we can talk of Pakistan, we can talk about America, we can talk about China. Okay, so you can talk about any country. Okay, so if you know that in every country there are few political parties, right? If you want to take the example of India, then in India also various political parties are there, and the all political parties do not function in the same manner. They have different ideologies. Okay, their thinking is different, right? Okay, the same is given here, that political ideology and practices of the ruling party. So whatever party comes in the whatever party becomes ruling, means the government is elected of the particular party, that becomes ruling party. So ideology of ruling party matters a lot because they just make their policies on the basis of their ideology. Okay, so that matters a lot. Some party may have the ideology to support or to promote the big businesses, and another party may have the ideology to support the small businesses or middle level businesses, right? Okay, so just because of the ideology of the ruling party, the businesses are affected. Understood? Now, another point, extent and nature of government intervention in business. Okay, Now, may be possible that some elected party which has formed the government, that is having a kind of nature to disturb the big organization again and again unnecessarily. Okay, so definitely business of those organization is going to be affected. But another elected party which has formed the government, that is not having that nature, that is having a nature to strengthen the business houses. Okay, they have proposed to reduce the tax rates, they have proposed to give them subsidies in various cases. So if it is happening, then that is working in positive manner for them. Okay, but if any kind of other government comes, they just increase the tax rate and they just take all the negative kind of decisions for the business houses, so business houses will be affected negatively in that case. So these factors somewhere work as negative or positive as well. Okay, now nature of relationship of our country with foreign countries. Yes, the country in which the business organization is working, if that country is having good relationship with the foreign countries in which the other branches are also there of the particular organization, then definitely it is going to be benefited in both cases, right? Because when two countries are having the friendship, then they just support each other for import and export. Okay, and if the one organization is working in two of the countries which are friends, then definitely the organization is also going to get the benefit of that friendship. So organizations are affected by that. Now, another nature and profile of political leadership and thinking of political personalities. Yes, of course. Okay, what is the profile of political leader? Fine, various leaders are there and so many leaders are very much influencing. Okay, so what is their way of thinking, what is their attitude towards the business houses, it also matters, right? So all these factors in totality form the political environment, and political environment indirectly affect the performance of the business, right? So that is why it becomes very much important to have information of this political environment so that you can plan and do the needful in your organization, right? Okay, so all these points are very much necessary for you to solve the case studies. Okay, now let's move on to another dimension, which is the last one. So the last dimension in your syllabus is legal environment. Legal environment includes all the laws and various legislation of the country, okay, in which the business organization is operating, right? Okay, suppose there is the organization which belongs to India, but it also works in other foreign countries like Japan, China, Germany, Switzerland. Okay, so the laws of those countries will be applicable to that organization there itself, right? Okay, and the laws of India will be applicable to the organization here itself, right? Okay, so there will be the complete legal environment for the organization. Okay, in those countries in that manner, and in India the separate legal environment. So as many countries it is dealing with, they have the separate legal environment for that. Understood the point? Okay, now let's talk about India. Okay, in India there are various kind of laws which are very much necessary for an organization to abide by. Okay, so all the provisions and norms which are given there, say for example Companies Act 2013, as many provisions and norms are given there, all the companies, whether it is foreign or Indian companies, they'll have to work according to that. If they violate any kind of provision, then definitely the strict action will be taken. Okay, and then their performance will be affected by that. Okay, penalty will be charged and their goodwill will go down, etc. kind of things will be taken, right? Okay, now let's talk about the other acts applicable on the companies. If the company is dealing in the manufacturing sector, then Factories Act will be applied on that, Industries Act will be applied on that. Okay, and Minimum Wages Act will be applied on that. Okay, and there are various kind of acts related to production as well. Fine. Okay, food and if the company is dealing in the food item, then Food and Safety Act is applicable on them, Consumer Protection Act is applicable on them. Okay, so a business has to perform under the ambit of all these acts which are applicable on them. Okay, say for example, one company is dealing in manufacturing of cigarette. If it is going to sell the cigarette, then it'll have to put a kind of statutory warning that cigarette smoking is injurious to health. That is just because of the act applicable on that company. Understood the point? Okay, so that is why these forces become important for an organization. Okay, and these forces, any kind of change in them, whether it is in positive manner or in negative manner, is going to affect the performance of the organization. Right now, very soon I am just going to write all the factors of the legal environment, so that we can discuss them, how these are going to affect the performance of the business organization. Right, so these all are the factors of legal environment. Let's understand them very minutely. Okay, legislation passed by government. As many legislations means acts are passed by the government in parliament. Whenever it becomes act, then all the legislation given in them become the part of legal environment. Right? Okay, court judgments. As many court judgment means whether it is given by Supreme Court or higher court or any other court. So on the basis of that very judgment, okay, if the organization is being affected, then that is a part of legal environment. Okay, now decisions by various commissions and agencies at every level of government. Okay, there are various kind of commission. For example, in future you will be studying in your chapter, that is Consumer Protection Act. So there are 3 levels for representation. Okay, one is the district forum, another is state commission, and the national commission. So it is given here, decision by various commission. So if national commission, state commission, or district forum gives any kind of decision, so that becomes a kind of law for the particular organization. It has to abide by that. Right, so that is a part of legal environment. All laws applicable on businesses in the country. Okay, as many laws are applicable on business in the country, these all are applicable here. Now let's understand the difference between political environment and legal environment. Students get confused in that. Let's understand very minutely. See, political environment talks about the proposal. Okay, it talks about the anticipation, it talks about the thinking, it talks about the perception, attitudes. Right, but here there is nothing like proposing, attitude. It is all about existence, what exists in reality. Right, all the laws are there in the existence. Okay, I just would like to clarify with one example. Okay, now you see that one act has come into existence, that is GST Act. So when GST became act, then it became the part of legal environment. But before becoming as an act, as many proposals were given by the government and discussion was happening in the assembly. Okay, whether it is lower house or upper house of the parliament, the discussion was happening related to GST. Okay, so all those discussion, attitudes, thinking, proposal before the act was passed were the part of political environment. But when the act was passed and it came into force, then it became the part of legal environment. Understood the point? That is what the difference. Okay, all the legalities, all the legislations have punishment if you violate them. Okay, now GST has become an act. Okay, so act provides the penalty as well if anybody does the violation of any norms of that. But in political environment there is nothing like that. They can just threaten you, they can just propose something, they can just show you kind of fear, but they cannot penalize you. Penalty is imposed on the basis of acts available in the country. Okay, the legal laws. Understood? Okay, so that is what the basic difference between political environment and legal environment. So don't get confused. And these are the key points. Okay, these key points are going to help you out in deciding whether the case study belongs to legal environment or political environment. So whenever you are going to solve the case studies, then consider these all key points. Okay, so this was all for dimensions of business environment, or you can call them elements of business environment. Okay, these are very much important from the exam point of view. So many case studies come on these and a student get confused. That's why I have tried my level best to include all the key points which are going to help you out while solving the case studies, right? Okay, so this is all for today. Very soon I am going to meet you in the another video. Thank you.